Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Happy Martian Dragon Hammercast. I am Drake Speared. I am joined by Cooperation, and we are continuing Andy's or Ockhammer's journey through a sealed event that took place on 4/26 up at Fantasy Flight. Andy, go for it.
Yeah, we're coming into round two. Andy 1-0 in this sealed event up against Alex. Alex, a returning player on our stream. We followed him a couple sessions back as he beat myself, then beat Andy, and we said, you know what, let's keep him on the stream. Watch him as he finished out an undefeated run here for us on the cast. Right now, Andy's up against him in round two, so we got two decks so far unbeaten. Looking to advance to round three. We'll take this away as we see them getting ready to. They've just cut each other's deck, and we'll see who's going to go first as they get ready to high roll this die.
Alex, having picked up the starter set at the in between rounds 3 and 4 of his previous stream, and doing what all gamers do at some point in their career, which is stowing everything in a Crown Royale bag.
Is that right? Did he go and he just bought all these tokens in between rounds?
He did that on April 5th in between rounds 3 and 4. It was pretty entertaining because he was using his opponent's tokens for everything, and then all of a sudden he had a starter set full of tokens.
How funny! Talk about a hook in a game. He played 3 games and then he said, I'm gonna go buy more right now, right here while I'm at the store. That's just great.
Yeah.
And Andy going first, looking at that Tavris, which was his turn 1 play last time, saying, no, I'm going to mulligan again.
Well, it's hard to know, especially in a sealed, what you want in your starting hand. Typically there are always going to be those cards that you want, things like the Terror, Treasure Map, Dust Pixie, Dew Fairy, anything either small and squishy that will give you a huge advantage right away, or anything that's just going to flat out give you a large amount of Ember.
Yep, and of course, in a sealed, you don't know what you're up against. So Andy, a deck that's got some strong artifact control, he doesn't know if he'll need it. Got some strong board control, he doesn't know if he'll need it. What he knows is that he's looking down Brabnar, Logos, and Sanctum. He can probably expect to see some 4, 5, and 6 power creatures that he's going to have to fight against. But Alex going to lead off with a Vespelon Theorist.
Vespelon Theorist is a great card. It's one of the rares in Logos. It is the Reap to reveal a card. If you guess the house correctly, you get to archive it. Otherwise, it stays on top of your deck, I believe.
Correct. You got it.
Dropping a Fogify, just wanting to make sure that he might be able to get some use out of that, going into a Phase Shift. Phase Shift is floating out there.
He's going to reap. Don't forget to gain your 1 amber. He's got that. He calls Brabnar. It is not.
All right, going into
He's going to...
Sakiel.
So that he can reap again.
Very smart play.
Calling Sanctum. Nails it. I couldn't spot what that Sanctum card was, but it was House Sanctum, and he has archived it. Clever use of the phase shift to ready that Theorist. Be able to trigger it 2 times. And discarding the Neutron Shark.
Neutron Shark is always a card that I'm a little hesitant to play unless my opponent just has such a commanding lead on the board. Andy playing a Nerve Blast, taking out that Theorist.
And this turn he has stolen 2. Finally got a creature on the board. He's got that Seeker Needle down saying, hey, you want to kill this urchin, or are you going to give me an extra amber for free? And he's removed that Theorist that is so far reap twice on a single turn.
Alex laying the smash, stunning the Urchin, playing the Smith to generate 3 more Ember.
Moving to 4, and absent the 2 that Andy just stole, would be moving into check on this turn. That steal already paying dividends. The only 2 Amber that Andy has swiped.
Andy dropping a Lost in the Woods, saying, you know what, I don't like what you have for a board, get rid of it. Looks like he's also going to play a Witch of the Eye and a Dew Fairy. And an Ancient Bear. Excellent play. Life Web just for the Ember.
And a heads-up play there. An interesting choice, knowing that his opponent has no board, has a lot to respond to. And also with a Dew Fairy and a Witch of the Eye, Andy in a place where he's likely to want to move back into Untamed on his next turn, and may in fact be able to trigger that Life Web. I'm not sure if I like the choice to play it right there. I suppose if he does go into Untamed, he can get it back with that Witch of the Eye. But with your opponent packing 4 Amber, the opportunity to steal all of it by double playing that Life Web to counter their response turn here. Certainly a greedy play, and sometimes those greedy plays pay off.
You know, I have yet to get one of those greedy plays to pay off. But that's just me. Alex playing the Spirit's Way to get rid of both the Witch and the Bear.
And the Sequus and a Raiding Knight to back that up. And from an empty board, is able to remove an Amber, destroy high priority targets, and reestablish control of the table.
Discarding a Cleansing Wave. Interesting choice, but if you don't have the creatures and there's no damage on the board, then that is just taking up a card slot.
Yeah, and really telegraphing with that play. I'm not going Sanctum next turn.
Yeah, absolutely. And on top of that,
Don't
also,
worry about this Sequus. He's not about to capture anything.
Andy just deciding to go Untamed, reaping for 2. What else does he have? Nature's Call.
The second Nature's Call. Clearing the board once again.
Bouncing his back. Lost in the Woods to get rid of Alex's creatures altogether. Andy putting himself in a commanding lead right now with 7 Ember and a Bear
And down
Flute.
comes the Bear Flute. So all of that premium removal, 2 Lost in the Woods and a Nature's Call, those things that have controlled the board for him to this point, all at risk of being shuffled right back into his deck.
This is very quickly turning into a very entertaining game. I am curious to see what Alex's response is going to be. Throwing the smash down to stun the Dew Fairy. Valder coming down, unguarded camp to capture 1. Not going to be enough to bring Andy off of his key unless he has something else going on. Looks like he's passing the turn there, giving Andy his first key. Forging at 6.
Forging for 6 and even keeping 1 on the board.
Looks like.
And we hear him asking Alex, are you at 6 as well? Indeed, he is. An excellent opportunity to go back into Untamed here, unless he has a way to keep him off of the key.
Interesting choice.
He's gained 1 with a glorious few.
Raiding Knight to capture 1, taking him off his key. Once again, just completely disrupting a tempo. Maxina coming down, stunning Valder.
And Valder, the only one out there that can actually kill something. Smash, of course, not able to get through the armor on the Maxina or on the Raiding Knight with enough power to finish him off, and that Dew Fairy, elusive as it is, missing the opportunity with the and of course no artifacts to bounce there. Perhaps missing the opportunity to bounce the Reliquary itself and to replay it, just to show off.
Well, Alex absolutely gave him a reason to start using that reliquary with that crazy killing machine and the Library of Babel now on the table.
Yeah, and following that up with the wild wormhole, landing on a second on that same rating night, possibly as it was shuffled back in, but much less meaningful now as it does not deny a key. It's simply holding on to one of Andy's amber for him for the time being.
I will say, capture early and capture often is definitely a solid strategy that I have a couple of decks that operate very strongly on that principle. And the decks work very well, so I think whether you capture now or capture later, as long as you're capturing or taking the ember off of your opponent's out of their pool, taking it away from them, forcing them to either get it back or deal with it somehow, uh, is always a good thing.
It is. It's certainly an interesting mechanic, and as we see creatures start to load up with amber throughout the game, we see that plays that would have been less meaningful become much more impactful. Andy for his turn dropping a couple of shadows, guys, throwing down the Dodger and the Naughty, and it's the Miasma that will keep Alex from forging here as he was able to get back to 6 amber on his last turn.
Looks like Alex is trading a smash for a Dodger. Looks like he has temporarily misplaced his discard pile as he.
Yes, that's moving. He's got a second discard pile growing.
It's the magical moving discard pile.
Yeah, he's unstunned his Valder. He's dropped another Valder along with Crump. He's trying to figure out what the hell's going on right now. What are these guys doing here? Reloading back to 6 cards. An interesting position now for Andy. That Crump is a threat.
2 Crumps, 2 Valders, a Raiding Knight. I mean, that's always something that you're going to have to keep an eye on. But
Certainly. A lot of power on the board
we
for Alex.
yes, we saw Andy uh, working from this position before, as far as the last game was concerned, and we saw him just consistently able to disrupt his opponent's tempo, just barely keeping him off the key, for a number of turns, and
And
just
doing
giving
it
a lot
again.
of really strong
Capitalizing on the
plays.
Flaxia for 2. A Nocturnal maneuver. And he's going to opt to exhaust all 3 of the Bravnar creatures here. An interesting choice to exhaust all within a single house. Certainly picking the 3 most threatening creatures, but interesting not to exhaust out of multiple houses. And finally triggering that Bear Flute. He'll pull a bear out of his discard pile. He'll reshuffle, and we'll see all of those top-notch untamed removal cards moving from his discard right back into his deck. Going to follow that up with a Dew Fairy. It's going to reap for 2, and he'll be right back on check.
Yep.
But he will be conceding the first key to Alex. So as he moves to what looks like it will be 7 amber. And the Dew Fairy, of course, was stunned, so only able to unstun, sitting with 5 amber now, not able to threaten, while he does concede the first key.
Very interesting choice by Andy to to pitch that key charge when he had, 3 very strong untamed creatures in play. And he was fairly confident that his opponent was not going to be able to deal with that Dew Fairy right away.
That Dew Fairy has stuck around, hasn't it? Something that, even at 2 power only and elusive, Alex has been unable to remove.
Alex going for the crazy killing machine has to kill 2 Sanctum cards. I think he's probably going to go for Lady Maxina and the Raiding Knight.
And a little bit of a misunderstanding about how that card works. Andy seems will not correct that misapprehension.
I
He'll
don't.
allow Alex to make that misplay.
I don't think I would either. I think we're far enough along in the game, although Alex is a fairly new player. Yeah.
Absolutely. And with nothing on the line, I'd make sure that he knew that he had the opportunity to kill my two Sanctum creatures, or even the Whispering Reliquary, I believe.
Hmm. Alex
As is
continuing
in
the...
a chained event, I think I'd let him make that mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Alex continuing with the wandering discard pile. Very, very, very curious. I'm going to be interested to see what happens when he gets to the end of his deck and he picks one pile to shuffle.
And it looks like we'll get there. He's been moving a lot of cards, especially with that Library of Babel. And
Hmm.
Andy with 3 untamed creatures on the board, along with a bear. He makes the choice to move into Sanctum.
Throwing down a Shield of Justice. Is he going to be able to capitalize on it? Does he have an inspiration in hand, or is it just the Raiding Knight that's going to go after the Valder? And it looks like he's going to bounce the Library. I'm thinking this might have been a bit of a missed play by Andy.
Yeah, he's so far put some extra damage on Valder. He's removed a low power artifact, and he's developed a Staunch Knight.
Alex playing barehanded. The discussion happening right now is in what order are these 3 artifacts coming back as they are returned to the top of the deck? Alex playing Tremor. Looks like he's going to go for the Dew Fairy, Ancient Bear, and Raiding Knight.
And I think a heads up play. I think I may have chosen to hit the Naughty as well as the Dew Fairy there, giving opportunity to stun something out of each house. As is, Andy can pull 2 stuns in one turn. Of course, his long-term plan, I'm going to remove this Naughty anyway, so no need to worry about that.
Yeah, very, very great use of Brothers in Battle.
Yeah,
Not a card you see
and
played too
Valder
often.
trading here with the Staunch Knight. No, Brothers in Battle, one that seems like a strict downgrade from its counterpart at Uncommon. Maybe you can help me with the name of it that allows all creatures to fight.
The
Brothers
card
of
you are
Battle.
the card you are thinking of is Follow the Leader.
Follow the leader. That's right. Brothers of Battle. Uh, Asking you to name a house to fight that turn, giving you 1 additional amber on the play effect.
Yep, the big difference. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. The difference between the two is you have to name the house with Brothers in Battle, but you get the Ember off of it. For Follow the Leader, there is no Ember bonus, but everybody gets to fight.
Yeah. And Andy will lost in the woods once again, and now realizing, oh, I'm about to reshuffle my artifacts as I've shuffled them back in.
Let's see. Andy had the Whispering Reliquary, the Seeker Needle, and what else?
He had a bear flute and he had a secret needle as well.
Yeah, the Bear Flute I was very sad to see go, but the other two, just Whispering Reliquary, Alex has nothing, so, or we haven't seen uh, any real serious artifacts aside from Crazy Killing Machine.
Yeah. Well, what I like to see out of Andy's artifacts is that there's 1 out of each house, so that each time you call a house, you're going to get a little bit of something for your trouble. There's always a bonus from picking one. That bonus has now been taken away. And Alex just dumped board. What a powerful lineup. We see a Raiding Knight, a Sequith, uh, Staunch Knight, and a Commander Remiel as well. And there goes the
Hey!
discard pile. And Andy now, having spent his removal, Looking through his hand, thinking, what do I do about all of these big armored creatures?
Two Whispering Reliquaries.
He pulls the stun off of his Raiding Knight. And a very soft turn from Andy.
Yeah, I think if I were in his shoes, I probably would have just dumped anything that gave me amber and just tried to force a response as fast as possible, especially now that I have seen my opponent's pile of skulls. Definitely forcing Andy back into Sanctum if he wants to ensure that he's going to be able to get that key.
Yeah, and Alex opting not to play Sanctum, which was on the board with 4 creatures. He's going to generate no amber, developing 3 artifacts and throwing down a phase shift. He'll draw a lot of cards, move himself closer to the bottom of that deck. But with 4 creatures and the opportunity to reap for 4 while capturing 1, an
Able to
interesting
play
choice.
Pawn Sacrifice, giving him back an Ember. Probably going to get rid of.
We'll kill the Remio and nothing else.
Correct.
1 damage, putting it on the Raiding Knight, not the Sequus.
I think he's going to kill that Raiding Knight with a Poison Wave.
We'll see if he can get there.
Oh,
That'll
no.
put 2 more. Does he have the Nerve Blast?
I don't think he does. Playing an Umbra instead.
And that Umbra, that's just fuel for the pile of skulls.
Andy playing Miasma for the Ember.
And he's moving to 6 Amber, saying, I know you can stop me, but I'm going to make you prove it. And if he can keep his opponent on Sanctum,
Protect the Weak
protect the
going down on
weak.
Sequus. Probably would have put that on the Staunch Knight just to protect the Sequus. Shield of Justice going down. Alex is clearly going to go to work on that little Umbra.
An Umbra, of course, at 2 power. It wasn't going to do any damage this turn anyway.
No.
He will take it out. He'll capture 1. Alex not falling for that shit. He's going to put it on the Staunch Knight where he wants it. He'll reap with the Sequus. Don't forget to gain 1. Moving to 6. Now he's in check. Taking Andy off check. Moving him down to 4.
This is going to be... I do believe this is going to be Andy's make or break turn. Depending on what he plays next, will very much dictate whether or not he will be in a strong position to win the game.
Certainly, and hard to know what might be in his hand. We've seen him shuffle and reshuffle his deck with Lost in the Woods, Nature's Call, and Bear Flute so many times.
Andy
And
playing
we know
Nature's
that there is
Call.
a key charge in his deck. He can simply bounce those creatures that have captured Amber, follow it up with a key charge, win this game on the spot. Does he have the key charge to follow up? Or is he going to develop the board a little bit?
I don't believe he has the key charge in hand. Alex not picking up his creatures. There we go.
Alex in a soft concede here. He knows that he'll get his second key, but Andy with enough amber that Raiding Knight is not going to get the job done.
Absolutely.
With 8 amber, Alex will need to take away 3 this turn. The Sanctum creatures won't get it done. Does he have a way to take advantage of the pile of skulls, possibly making use of that crazy killing machine? Does he have... No, and he will go back into Sanctum.
Yeah, and I didn't see a Terms of Redress during Alex's first cycle through his deck.
He extends the hand. And Andy moving to 2-0. You hear him talking about some of the threats that Alex was presenting later in the game. But that premium removal coming through in the late game. And through the game, from the very beginning, in fact, to control the board without ever really needing to kill anything.
Yeah, this just goes to show that, once again, you do not need control of the board to have control of the game.
Absolutely.
All
Seeing
right.
a funny pattern of playing from behind. We'll see if he can carry that into round 3 as he looks for his 3rd win.
All
Join us for our
right.
next round.
Round 3's right around the corner, guys. Stick around.